Okay, I'm going to call this to order.
7:02.
Yeah, 7:02. You want to do the roll call?
Arnold? Absent. Beckwith?
Here.
Farcapisi? Absent. Flores? Absent. Kotsinis?
Here.
Hamilton?
Here.
Sutton?
Here.
We have a quorum.
The Warren Newport Public Library District provides the community with access to information, kindles the imagination of children and adults, and supports lifelong learning. Would anyone like to speak in public comment? There's a mic up there if you'd like to.
So we had a question on
May I
behalf.
have your name?
I'm Nicolon. Yep.
Thank you.
And on behalf of my scouts here, we would like to ask, how did you get to be on this board for the library?
Anyone else want to answer, or shall I? Okay. We're all elected. This is a district library, and so we have to run for office. Each of us has a 4-year term, and when your 4-year term is up, you can choose to run again if you would like to. So everybody here has been elected. Every now and then, we have someone who leaves before their term is over, and so I have to change that. We have one person, Wendy, who was appointed when someone else left.
Thank you.
Pardon?
Getting all the signatures,
I can't hear what you're saying.
getting all the signatures and all that. Do you want to talk
Talk about the process for running.
Oh, yeah,
I
okay.
can speak to that
Yeah,
some more,
okay, yeah.
sure.
George is going to tell you about how you run.
So, running for office is it's a big decision to make. You have to really commit to it because obviously we have to be here, and more than that, we're responsible for what happens here. And part of that is convincing people that we're going to be here and we're going to be responsible for what happens here. So we need to find a certain number of people. For this particular position, it's 50. You need to find 50 citizens in the district who are willing to sign a nominating petition that presents you for nomination to office. You've got about 4 weeks usually to collect those signatures during a window in roughly the November-December period, the year before our election. When you go around, you basically tell people, hi, I'm George Katsinas. I want to run for the library board in Warren Newport Public Library District, and will you please sign this piece of paper putting me forward for that election? And once you've found enough people, you bring those petitions in on a specific date and time, and they are forwarded to the county clerk to put your name on the ballot. Then in April of the next year, we hold an election. Hopefully uncontested, because otherwise it's a lot more work for us. If it is a contested election, and we've had those in the past, that means more people are running for this particular position than we have people open to fill those spots, so to speak. Then we actually have to go and campaign. We go door to door, we put up signs. You've seen our signs all over the place from time to time. We put up websites, Facebook, wherever you want to talk to people, want them to know that you're running and this is why you're running. And whoever gets the most votes at the end of the day gets to sit here.
Twice a month.
And the most important thing, qualification, we all think, for running is that you love the library. So that's an important thing. We all love the library. Anyone have anything else to add? Any other questions? Okay.
Hey, Joe, you want to talk about what the board does versus what, so I'm the executive director, so I'm the one that, kind of like the chief operating officer, I run the library and I report to the 7-member board, and they oversee me, I'm their one employee.
going.
So they're responsible for hiring, evaluating, if necessary, firing the executive director. The board is responsible for setting policy. They're responsible for overseeing the finances at the end of the day. What am I missing?
Those are our three.
Those are the three things, right?
jobs.
Levying
Yep.
taxes. Don't forget our tax, don't forget that we are the ones who levy taxes in the
Yeah.
end, so.
Yeah, and that's, I see that's part of the financial
finance.
process,
It
yeah.
is
It's
part
a
of the
big part of
financial
it.
process.
So.
So, we have a wonderful treasurer too. She's on her way here. She's a little late tonight, but we have a great treasurer, and we all work really well together, I think, here. So, it's a really good group to be on. We all really enjoy it. All right, now, correspondence?
No, we don't have it.
Okay, cool. All right, anyone want to take anything off the consent agenda? Okay, anyone want to move for that then?
I move that we adopt the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second that. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain. Okay, President's Report, page 27. Questions, comments, concerns? One thing I did want to ask about with regard to the President's Report is that I said that we agreed on goals, and so, let's see, I don't know if I put them in here. I need to ask you about that later, so just to make sure, because Wendy's going to document everything in the binder, so I'll probably be sending an email about it.
Joe, I think at the bottom where it's April 5th, it says send historic board goals to trustees. Is that what you were looking for?
Those are historic ones.
Okay,
I'm
that's
asking
not the
about the
new
ones
goal.
we agreed on, yeah, for next time. So I'll probably be sending an email about that in the future, just so you know, so if you could check. All right, other reports.
I've got one.
Good.
Just wanted to pass along the thanks from my wife for using the study rooms that they've now reopened. She actually came in here with their Destination Imagination team that she was chairing, and they used the study rooms to practice. They actually did very well, won their grade at state for that. So
Cool.
they would not have done that without the extra time they would have been in practicing here in our study rooms, and they were very happy about that.
Cool.
Very good.
I don't know. Yeah. Okay, anyone else have a report? Okay, Ryan, you're up.
Okay, I just want to point out a couple of things on the executive director's report. So, as I noted on the report, I was asked to chair the Illinois Library Association Public Policy Committee starting July 1st, and I did have a discussion with Joe. One of the things I wanted to let the board know is my time on the Exchange Club board expires at the end of June, so it's good timing, so I won't overlap. So I'm giving something up while I'm stepping into this role. So I just wanted to note that. In terms of the incident reports, I'm kind of embarrassed to say this in front of the scouts, but we had some embarrassing things, including, you know, this is a public library, and sometimes people do things they shouldn't do. And there was public urination, and that was out. I just wanted to note the board that was outside of the building. It was before hours, and our security supervisor spoke with the individual, and it was this person had been waiting to use the library. No excuse, but I wanted to put it into context. Sorry for that, but it's a public library, and unfortunately, people don't always behave the way they should. And then the FOIA report, I just want to let the board know what happened with this FOIA report is it got considered junk mail by your email.
Could you tell us what FOIA means?
Oh, Freedom of Information Act. So maybe you've heard about this. So I'll talk about a couple things. So the Open Meetings Act, for example, this is an open meeting, and anyone can come to the meeting and hear about what's going on here at the library. It's an open meeting. We can't deny anyone. Now, the board can go into closed session or a closed meeting under certain circumstances, but you're limited by law what you can do behind closed doors. So we're transparent, open government. We're recording the meeting tonight. It's going to go on YouTube, so anyone that can't make the meeting can go and find out what happened here, what the board is talking about. Kind of related to that is Freedom of Information Act, where we have a lot of information online. So if someone wants to go onto our website and look at board meeting minutes or anything that's discussed here tonight, they can go and read those minutes. But also if there's information that that organizations feel that, or people feel that they need to know about, they can submit a Freedom of Information Act request, and we're required within a certain time frame to get back to them. And in this case, ABC 7 Chicago requested access to and/or a copy of data on reconsideration forms or other forms that challenge library books dating from January 2018 to present. You might have heard in the news across the country, there are a lot of book challenges. There's a growing movement to challenge books at school libraries and public libraries. So ABC 7 Chicago wanted to know if that's happened here. Unfortunately, what happened is that email went into our spam filter. Our email system thought it was junk. So we replied to that request late. Fortunately, ABC 7 Chicago understood. And to correct that issue, what I wanted to let the board know is we have, Smriti can go into the technical details, but long story short, anything with FOIA in the subject line that goes to certain email accounts is going to get sent to Gina and I, so we shouldn't miss those again. So, any questions about that?
Nope.
And that's, any questions about the executive director's report in general?
I have just one question, and forgive me if I don't know what I'm talking about. What is an SRP award?
Summer reading program.
Oh, thank you.
So summer reading program registration opens May 1st, so I hope you all will sign up. And it's not just for students, it's for grown-ups as well, adults, so please consider signing up.
We have prizes.
Okay, done with that? Okay. All right, you're up for operations and update and mask requirements.
There's not much new to report. The cafe, I don't remember if it had reopened at the committee of the whole or not, or maybe we were set to, but the cafe is open. That's going well. As we talked about before the meeting started, the study rooms have been quite busy. Traffic, although it seems subjectively like we're busier, if you look at our numbers, we're pretty steady. So we're about 60% of what we were doing, say April 2019 still. So I think that will continue to grow. I hope, hopefully with summer reading, we'll get more traffic. But yeah, so, things are looking good.
Cool. Questions? Okay, developer donation agreement.
So, what developer donation agreement, this is something that's interesting. So the Warren Newport Public Library, we're not, some people think we're just the Gurney Library, but there are a lot of communities that we serve. These communities include, I'm undoubtedly going to miss one, but we've got Gurney, we've got Wadsworth, Gages Lake, Wildwood, Grantwood Park, unaccredited parts of Grays Lake, Libertyville, Waukegan,
Park City.
Park
gonna say,
City,
did you say
thank
Park
you.
City?
Old Mill Creek, that might be it.
Warren Township.
Well, so we're the Warren Newport Public
Unincorporated.
Library, so if you think Warren Township and Newport Township, that's our territory, 55 square miles. And with some of the municipalities that we serve, we have agreements in place, or they have laws on the books that say if a developer comes in and they do a development within that municipality and the library district, we can get what I would call an impact fee, right? Because when that's being developed, that's property tax that we miss out on. We get about 93% of our operating revenue through local property taxes. So in this case, there's a development that's going to happen on Milwaukee Avenue and Woodlake Boulevard. And it's 11 acres. It's how many units? 81 one-bedroom and 72 two-bedrooms. So what the Village of Gurnee does is it has the developers go to the other local governments that would serve this property, like the Park District, like the Library District, and it says you need to sign an agreement with them to come to an arrangement for an impact fee for that you know, that how you're going to have to serve the people that are going to live in these units. So that's what this is. That's what we're talking about. So what happened was the attorney for the developer, they come to us and they say, okay, what kind of agreement do you usually do and what's your formula for that? And we come back with the agreement, and then the lawyers kind of go back and forth and finalize the agreement. And that's what we have before the library board tonight. So assuming the board adopts this agreement, and I expect that they will, that will mean some additional revenue for the library district, in this case, $35,000. So anything to add?
Yeah, I'll jump in on that a little bit, because I know this might sound a little sketchy, you know, why are we shaking down developers? We're not. Let's be a little clearer on what's happening. Property taxes are always paid in arrears. So you pay this year for the property taxes from a year ago. Well, the problem is, when people move into a new area like this, the property taxes from a year ago were property taxes on some piece of vacant land with, you know, some swampland on it. Basically zero. Now you've got a few hundred people that are moving in. Those few hundred people are going to need services. They're going to need schools, libraries, fire protection, everything that the village and all of the various taxing entities in the village provide. Well, they need it right away, not a year after they move in. You're not going to wait a year to say, oh, we're not going to have any fires the first year, or nobody's going to come use the library the first year. So the impact is immediate. As soon as people move in, they start using our services. So the point of a developer donation is to provide us with that gap for that year that, you know, right now it's still a piece of vacant land as far as the county is concerned until a year later. They'll eventually be paying property taxes equal to what this developer donation would roughly be. So we're just asking for that up front so we can start providing them services right away.
Yeah, thank you, George. And just to be clear too, that's reflected in the way the money trickles in. So as these units are developed and there are people living in them, that's when the developer donations come to us. So it's not like we get a check immediately as this passes, so.
And then you want to just explain, because there's another copy at Places, right? Does everyone have, yeah.
Oh, about the.
Yeah, what is the difference between this one and the one in our package?
You know, it's not, it's minor. Basically, there was some, you know, looking at it, I thought it meant the same thing, but Roger preferred different terminology that their attorney agreed to. I don't know that I've got the markup, Joe, in front of me, to be honest.
But the numbers haven't changed.
The numbers are the same,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, any other questions? All right, I move that the board approve the developer contribution agreement between WNPL and AR Building Company Incorporated as presented.
I'll second that.
Discussion? You want a roll call for this?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Parkapisi,
Aye.
Kotsinis,
Aye.
Sutton,
Aye.
Flores absent, Hamilton absent,
No,
Oh.
Hamilton.
Hamilton,
Aye.
Arnold absent, Beckwith.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Okay. Statement of economic interest?
Do you want me to explain this one too?
Yeah, I think you better explain this one.
Well, so, long story short, statement of economic interest. So, all members of the board and members of the management team are required to submit this to the Lake County Clerk's Office every year. And basically what this is, it's a tool to make sure that there's transparency in government. So even if there is, you know, what might appear on the surface as a conflict of interest, it can be disclosed in these documents. So I'm trying to think of a good example of, let's see, Andrea, you have an example?
Let's say I owned a grocery store and there was going to be a vote to put an intersection in front of that grocery store that would make it really easy for people to get in and out of my grocery store. When before, they might have to like go, you know how Grand Avenue is divided, they wouldn't be able, they'd have to go further down and turn around and get to my grocery store. Well, if I sit on the governing body, I have to put on my economic statement that I own this grocery store.
Right.
That's in the district and all of this, and I should recuse myself, which means not vote on that. But this document puts all of our business with governments and properties and things like that open to the public, so that to hold politicians, keep them honest.
Yeah.
So what is the information that we?
I just wanted to make sure, so this year, the state of Illinois had changed the statement of economic interest form. It used to be simpler to fill out, and this year it's a little more complicated, quite a bit more complicated. So, at the Committee of the Whole meeting earlier this month, we discussed some of these changes, and this is on the agenda tonight to make sure there aren't questions. There was a board member that came to me and asked, for example, does an ethics officer need to certify my statement of economic interest? And the answer is no. That's only for Illinois officials, state of Illinois officials. So that was one thing that came to me. Anyone else, if you had a chance to look at it, have any questions, comments, concerns?
Who's got it done?
Just last night.
Okay, we're
I
working on it.
don't yet, actually, but
Okay.
working on it.
Okay, items for next agenda. Anything that's not on here? Anything for committee of the whole? All right.
Same old, same old.
Pardon?
Same old, same old.
Same old,
Budget,
same old. Yep,
finance.
yep, I got it.
Financial
Mhm.
statements.
Oh, yep.
So Joe, do you want to talk about what committee of the whole is?
So our board, some time ago, when I first came on the board, we had a monthly board meeting where we did everything. And at that time, we also had separate committees. So we had a policy committee, we had a finance committee, we had a committee for buildings and grounds. What am I skipping?
Art committee.
Yeah, but that's not the one. What-
Policy, buildings and grounds,
Personnel,
personnel.
yeah, we had personnel, yeah. And what we learned over time was that the personnel committee could meet, or the policy committee would meet, and we would talk over all the policies that we wanted to review that month and spend time debating this point and that point until we reached an agreement about what was the best choice. But then, those three people would take it to the full meeting of 7 people who weren't at that meeting, and then we would do the whole thing over again. And we needed to do that because not everybody would be there. So we decided to try out the 2 meetings. One is called Committee of the Whole, and that's the meeting where we do all that hashing out, discussing, and come to consensus, but we don't do any voting. And so then everyone's there for the discussion, everyone can contribute, and we make a decision, and then when we come to this meeting, which is the regular meeting, that's when we vote on things. And so we don't have that rehash of issues with whatever policy it is, or personnel policy, and financial issues, and buildings and grounds, and so on. So this is our regular meeting. They're typically shorter than Committee of the Whole, and lots less talking. So what did I leave out? Anything?
Andrea's got something she wants to say.
Please.
So the agendas for the Committee of the Whole, and this has to do with all the governmental agencies. We can't talk about anything that's not on the agenda. It's actually against the law for us to talk, so we can't sneak something in. So the Committee of the Whole agenda is published in advance, so citizens can see what's on the Committee of the Whole. Like right now, you can check a book out on for 3 weeks. It might be, we're going to decrease that to 1 week or increase it. And so the agenda for this meeting is also published, no less than 48 hours or 2 days.
48 hours.
No less than that. So that's the minimum. We never go with the minimum. So citizens who have something to say, like let's say we were going to bring back masks or something that people feel strongly about for whatever reason, have 3 opportunities to speak. They have more than that they can write to and email us. But so they can read the agenda, they can speak. There's public comment before Committee of the Whole. There's public comment at the end of the Committee of the Whole. There was public comment at the beginning of this committee, and then we vote. So the public should have plenty of time to tell us what they think, and we should take that into consideration.
Anyone else have anything else to add? Okay, so would anyone like to speak in public forum? All right. Any announcements besides what's in the agenda?
I think it's worth mentioning that it's on the agenda, but the Friends Saturday book sale is Saturday, April 30th. So if you haven't been, there's always some great deals at the Friends book sale. So consider coming by and checking it out if you are available from 10 to 3.
Not just books, there's DVDs.
There's DVDs, yeah, all kinds of good stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Are there? Yeah, there are. Okay.
a lot of DVDs.
Oh, yeah.
I was thinking of
And
videos,
music.
okay. All right, anybody else have an announcement? All right, who would like to move to adjourn?
So moved.
I'll second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, abstain. 7:28. Cool.